Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Guess that's what they say. So I'm recording a video after quite some time, and by quite some time I mean 5 to 6 years. So apologies in advance if my talking to a camera skills are rusty by now. A lot happened in the meantime, and one of the wonderful things that did happen was that I moved to Canada from India. Now I've been here for a hair over a year now. Moved here back in July 2019, and I moved here on a work permit. Now, if it's relevant for anyone, I am 28 years old and I work as a software engineer. The reason I'm recording this video is because I wanted to be able to share with you guys how I was able to land an LMI supplemented job offer while I was still in India. Yes, that did happen. And let's get started. I can't stay. One thing that I do want to bring to your attention is the fact that I did not have any connections or ties with the country. I did not study here. I never visited the country. The company that I used to work for did not have an office here, and of course I did not have my permanent residence, so no ties whatsoever. Now, some of you might know about the process called LMIA. It's short for Labor Market Impact Assessment, and it allows Canadian employers to hire internationally to fill the positions that they could not find skilled resources for within the country. Now, according to the law, employers are not supposed to hire internationally if they can find somebody within the country. Canada, of course, supports people that are already in the country who might be permanent residents or on work permit or citizens here. So if companies still want to hire somebody internationally, they have to supplement the job offer with LMIA. Now, as you would imagine, it's a relatively longer and a little more expensive process for the employers. I had also been trying the very famous express entry route back in 2018 and the next year. It wasn't working for me. My CRS score at the time was 438, and the CRS cutoff was constantly hovering around 441. I had a decent IELTS score, though. I had a CLB 9, and I quickly realized and just accepted that I needed to do more. My credentials as they were not sufficient, and so I decided to take my IELTS again, hoping for a CLB 10. Well, that didn't happen. Honestly, getting a job offer from a Canadian company while I was still living in India did seem unrealistic. I wasn't really counting on it. For obvious reasons, I had not heard of anyone having received a job offer with LMI while they were still living in India. And but anyway, I was fairly active on social media as well, trying to keep myself aware of different immigration options available, and Facebook groups, although very helpful, had a wealth of information, did always give an impression that it was kind of impossible to get an LMIA job offer directly. But I anyway sort of decided to give it a shot, and with this video I'm hoping that I'll be able to get this message out there to at least some of you that it's not impossible. It did happen to me. Okay, so a little bit of background about me. At the time I landed the job offer, I was working as a software engineer back in Delhi, India. I've always considered myself a very average software engineer. I am nowhere close to the geeky ones at the top. I'm not from a tier 1 or a tier 2 college. I'm from a tier 3 college affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University back in Delhi itself. So if you think that your college tier matters, let's just get that out of the way. It does not. Coming to a couple of things that I worked on and I believe helped me getting the job offer. I did work extensively on my LinkedIn profile. I also signed up on a couple of hiring platforms that I believed at the time were being used in Canada for hiring. By the way, it's actually LinkedIn and Indeed for the most part, but at the time I did sort of sign up on a couple more. I did sign up on Naukri as well, and Naukri is not really used here. If you're someone like me who is from IT or software engineering, then Stack Overflow jobs and Glassdoor jobs is also an option. And guess what? One of these options worked. Now, the big question. Which one of these options worked? The answer to that question is 1, 2, 3, LinkedIn. Yes. Now you must be wondering how I was actually contacted by a Canadian employer on LinkedIn itself. In my opinion, there were a couple of reasons as to why I was contacted by a Canadian employer on LinkedIn. At the time I started looking, I had indicated on my profile that I was actively looking. It's a simple setting that you can make on LinkedIn and indicates the same to the employers that you're actively looking and available for new opportunities. Sweet. Another thing that I did was I indicated all of the provinces that I was interested in relocating to for work in Canada. I basically went ahead and selected all of the provinces here in Canada. So in about 2 to 3 months of having made these changes, I was contacted by CEO of the company that got my LMIA processed. He messaged me expressing interest in my profile and shared a position that was open in their company. At the time, now keep this in mind that I did have a little edge here. The position required having worked with HL7 implementation in a software, and I gained the relevant experience with a US based company back in the 3rd year of my college, and that's how I had the relevant experience. I went ahead and applied for it, and that's when things started to fall in place. In response to the communication initiated by the company, I responded with my CV, of course. But here's little something that I did to my CV before I updated it on any of the platforms or shared it with anyone. I updated it with a Canadian phone number. I believe that people have a mental barrier when they look at a foreign phone number. It gives them the impression that it's just someone far off, not immediately available, or it might just take longer to work things out with them. So I just wanted to be beyond that mental barrier that comes from looking at a foreign phone number. So that was the major reason I updated, and I personally feel that it did wonders to the entire process. Soon after I shared my CV with the company through LinkedIn, I received a call from the HR of the organization on my Canadian number, and the connection wasn't great, so he instead asked me for my Indian number. The rest of the call was pretty standard. We spoke at length about the position, my relevant experience, and the value that I was going to bring to the table. Now, I would say he pretty much expedited the process after this and scheduled a couple of interviews with different people in the organization. After my technical round of interview, I was aware that I had done pretty well in it. The tech manager was a very warm person and he listened to all of the answers very carefully. I also felt very comfortable in that round. I was able to answer all of his questions with a lot of clarity. For those who are aware about technical interviews, I was able to give a standard solution to the problem and an optimized one, which I think did make him happy. There was also a screen coding round in the same interview. After my interview, I was happy and content with my overall experience. And soon after, I was scheduled for a couple other rounds. With this company, I had probably one of the longest behavior rounds that I've had in my entire career. This wasn't just for the heck of it like it is in most of the organizations. And then there was another HR round scheduled. In the HR round, there was a standard discussion about how soon I could come and how long the process is going to take, and the salary discussion and such. It was overall a very pleasant experience. The HR of the company got the LMIA processed. It did not take very long. It took him about 15 days or 20 days, I believe. And soon after, I was able to apply for my work permit and the visa. And that's how I got here. One of the important pieces of information that I feel I've missed in the video so far, how I got my Canadian number while I was still in India. It was through an application called Text Now. I will put the link in the description box below. You can download it and get a virtual number. the free copy of the number would basically be rotating every now and then. If you're going to be using it and going to put it on a CV, then you should probably pay a couple of dollars and get a permanent number that wouldn't switch or rotate. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope this helped you, and I hope this will motivate you to keep your hopes high about getting LMI offers. It's not impossible. That's all I can say. Bye bye. I can't stay.